We are built for this network, for the strong, not the weak.
Good afternoon. It's your man HRap, and I'm having technical difficulties, obviously. What we're going to do is fix this immediately. I will play the intro and then I'll see what happens. No escaping this. 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 No one's ready to deal with us. No escaping this. No escaping this. No escape. No one's ready to deal with us. No escaping this. No escaping this. No escape. No one's ready to deal with us. No escaping this. No escaping this. No escape. No one's ready to deal with us.
You are listening to the End of the Bench podcast on Built for This Network, hosted by my man HRap.
That will be me. Thank you for at the technical difficulties going. That's what happens when you wake up too late and start the show without thinking. You just jump into it and then you have technical difficulties. But thank you for joining the show. If you are listening, I really appreciate it. This is the End of the Bench podcast. I am HRap. This is a show called Build and Destroy. Build and Destroy, where I attempt to build up the community and destroy the lies of propaganda that goes along with the community. So what I'm going to do each Tuesday at 5 p.m. and each Saturday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time is inspire you and hopefully inspire you and put you in a position to where, as you will know, that some of the things that we've come to accept as truths are not truths. They are mostly propaganda. They put us in a situation to engage in self-hate. And self-hate is not productive for anyone. We don't want to have to do that. So what I'm going to do is, by inviting people on, introducing you to new and more interesting people, what we'll do, hopefully, is put you in a position to question some of the things that you hear. And once you start questioning the things that you hear, you will knock down the nonsense that is being pushed in front of you as the truth. With that being said, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. If you want to participate in the show, I'm going to even open up the phone lines this weekend. I don't know how that's going to work. I got Sister Teresa Rucker in the building, a.k.a., y'all know her name, Tiki. We know her name is Tiki. I mean, she always called me by my government name, so she's Tiki. But thank you, Tiki, for joining in. It's always good to see you. I want to salute to everybody who's tuning in. If you are able to tune in currently, what you can do is tune in on Spreaker.com. Spreaker.com. Built for This Network is on Spreaker.com, and this is a simulcast on YouTube. And then you can go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, or wherever you download your favorite podcast. Joe from Houston is in the building. Thank you, Joe. And then You'll be able to listen to me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at your leisure. At your leisure. What I do every weekend is acknowledge my family. My family, without them, there is no me. Without them, there is no me. Without them, there is no me. That way, whether you're an ancestor or you're currently breathing in a living physical organism, those people are connected to me in every way, shape, form, or fashion, from the spiritual realm as well as the physical realm. They are part of the Whitmore family, Pollard family, Turner, Battle, Cotton, Harper, Bailey, Lansdowne, Lakin, Chris, Duncan, and you know me, my mother, my brothers, my sisters, my father. We're the Williams clan. We're always in the building. Holla at your boy. Thank you for tuning in. With that being said, it's been an interesting week of things that I'm going to cover, and I continue to cover them every week. Shout out to the people who they tell me that they're my friends, but they continue to call me right in the midst of my show, embarrassing the hell out of me. But thanks, man. You know, shows the support that you give me because I've only been doing this for 5 years. Thank you. With that being said, man, it's been an interesting week, man. We've had a lot of nonsense going on. We've had, shout out to my Uncle Rory. He's in the building. Much love to my Uncle Rory. I got my man, business partner, #1 Chief Rocker, Jersey Byrne. He's in the building as well. Thank you. It's been an interesting time. We've had an interesting about 12 or 13 months. The reason, Michelle Smith is in the building. Thank you. Thank you. I always shout out to Michelle. Thank you. It's been an interesting situation. For the first time in 100 years, we were hit with a crippling virus. It was called a Spanish flu last time. This time it is called the coronavirus. And a lot of people don't notice. You know, people that are our age, we don't notice. Unless you were around 100 years ago, and not many of us were around 100 years ago, you don't know this. And this thing crippled us. And now another virus called corona is back. And last time was H1N1. They called it the Spanish flu. I don't know why. It's probably some racial nonsense. Just like in most cases with the United States of America. And if it's not of your culture, you totally disrespect it. I understand it. I get it. It's the way the country functions. I'm not here to say anything disparaging about the country today as a whole. But the one thing that I'm sure wasn't happening 100 years ago, that they came up with a vaccine. Now, let's talk about what a vaccine is. A vaccine is not a cure. It's not a cure. It does not. What it does is potentially strengthen your immune system. This vaccine is not a cure because this is a virus that we're talking about. A virus is a living organism. A virus is a living organism that morphs into something different. If it touches me, it's this thing. If it touches Joe, who's in the chat room, it's something else. If it touches my Uncle Rory, it's something else. If it touches Tiki, something else. If it touches Chief Rocker, something else. That's why you can never just destroy a virus. You can minimize it and put yourself in a position to basically be able to survive its attack. I got my man Show Killer in the building. Thanks, my main man Show Killer, another business partner, another family member. Him and Chief Rocker, him and Chief Rocker created the Build for This network. We in the building at all times. If you see one of us, you see all of us. Now, back to the virus. Now, when you are dealing with something like a virus, HIV is a virus. The rhinovirus that you know is the common cold is a virus. The flu is a virus. A lot of people make statements like this, man, ain't it strange that since the corona been around, nobody gets to get a cold? The reason you don't get a cold in an instance like this, more than likely, is because now we're spending way more time washing our hands, sanitizing our hands, keeping our common areas clean because we're scared to death of the coronavirus. But what that does is eliminate smaller, less deadly viruses. That's probably why you haven't had a cold or know anybody with a cold, because we are now taking the precautions that will get rid of a cold from your house. When you get a cold at home, you spray Lysol, you wipe down everything, because you're scared to death. You don't want it to develop into flu or pneumonia, and then, oh man, I'm jacked up. But that's what we're doing now. More than likely, that's what's happening. The other thing that's happening is something that I'm kind of ashamed as a human being. This is a human issue. Human beings should not be tripping like this with other people. Now, if I asked you some of your personal medical information, you'd look at me like I was crazy. Hey man, have you ever had a venereal disease? Have you ever had a sexually transmitted disease? Are you sick in this manner, this shape, form, or fashion? You go, this is not your business. So why are we sitting around shaming people who are not getting this damn vaccination? First of all it does is prepare your body in the event that you do get a deadly version of the corona, and potentially it strengthens it. So whereas it is recommended that everybody get it, it's not mandatory. And if you are a black person in the United States of America, guess what? You should be apprehensive, because they've used us for test dummies for 400 years. If you are watching the forecast with me, Ben, my man Dolph, and my man Wilkes, you would have known about this docuseries called Exterminating the Brutes. If you watch episode 3, you can see where, as in 1900, 1902, 1905, the German people, they don't teach you this in school, of course, they went down to South Africa and almost annihilated a group of people, testing out the things they would later on inflict upon the Jewish community. So when you live on Earth and you look like me, darker, lighter, or any variation of an African, because that's what we are. We have African ancestry. That's why we look like this. And you have some apprehension about the United States federal government, or, hey man, white folks giving you something that's supposed to help you when you've been helped so many other times with these same white folks who are in charge, not the average everyday working class white person, but these people who are in charge. You would be outside of your mind not to be apprehensive. And the people who are brave enough and say, hey, they throw caution to the wind and say, hey man, I'm scared. I don't know what the hell's going on. This scares the hell out of me. My cousin, my uncle, my aunt, my friend died from this, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this vaccine and hope for the best. I commend you. But you shouldn't be shaming anybody because they don't want to do it. This is their life. I mean, the same people, guess what, y'all? Even though it's a couple 100,000 people, or almost, maybe 150,000 people who died from this in the United States of America alone, allegedly, because we don't really know. About 15,000 people a year die from the regular flu. You don't trip on nobody not getting the flu shot. So, come on, man. This is not your business. And guess what? You have the option to stay your black or white behind in the house, or you can stay your ass in the house. Forget the culture. Just stay your ass in the house and go out when you have to, and then take care of business the way you have to, and you sanitize yourself and you take care of you. But to shame people and attempting to do to because they don't want to do something that you think is necessary, because, hey, if you're that concerned with society, how many times have you given to the homeless? How many times have you gone outside instead of throwing away clothes, gone to your local homeless shelter and handed out clothes and stuff like that? How many times have you done that? Oh, you don't do that, but you got the nerve to jump your ass up and criticize people. You just like these people who stand their asses in front of abortion clinics and talk about Jesus and God and Allah, whoever else they represent, and talk about the unborn child. But then you don't go your ass down to the impoverished part of your communities or your impoverished part of your city and help out the disenfranchised. Don't make a difference. Hey, how about this? Go ahead. If you want to be racist, just help out the white folks then. How about that? Because this is struggling ass white folks and they getting screwed over too. So since you don't really want to help out the brothers and the Latinos and the Asians, well, go ahead and help out the white folks. But you don't do that because you'd rather stand your ass in front of an abortion clinic and tell somebody about their lives. So look, man, I know I'm on the soapbox right now talking to them, but at the end of the day, you shouldn't be telling people what to do because you don't like it. As long as that person isn't hurting you and yours, let them not take the virus. If they get it and they get sick and then they have to, none of this stuff there are no exacts. So you must do what's best for you, as long as it don't hurt nobody else. Now, if you disagree, I understand. That's the purpose of the show, so we can have conversation about real life. But if you don't want to have a conversation about real life, don't be dissing nobody because you saw it on TV. Because all you have to do is look at since you're watching the news so hard. Looking on the news about 2 weeks ago, they asked the homeless man, why you don't wear no mask? Why you ain't got corona? He said, because I don't watch TV. So, Barbados, very few, they got almost non-existent corona. So we don't know where this thing is going. We don't know how to get rid of it. And we know that there are alleged assistance scientifically to assist you while you are struggling with this. But people who don't want to participate in this due to faith, due to fear, due to going down YouTube rabbit holes, talking to their friends, if they're naturally conspiracy theorists, they're cool, man, because they're not trying to hurt you. Some of those people are actually trying to help you because they're trying to do what they think is best for all of us, unless they got some ulterior motive. But all this, oh man, my sister, look, y'all have never heard me say one positive or negative thing about the coronavirus, and I've lost 11 people in the last 14 months. Because however you deal with this thing is how you deal with it. It's not your job to criticize. With that being said, I want to thank you again for tuning in, and I want to move forward. This is where the show is going to get a little sticky. This week, you saw several what we call lawmakers or people in the know. And you know what? And if you want to participate in the show, I'm going to leave a number there for you. 773-797-2409. If you want to voice your opinion, if you want to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, or you just want to be heard. A lot of people just want to be heard. A lot of people want to be heard. Go ahead. I'm going to leave a number there in the chat room. You can call in and you can be heard if you like. But at the end of the day, even if I totally disagree with you, even if I think you are totally insane, you're not wrong if you're speaking about what's right for you. Now, if you're speaking about what's right for everybody and last time I checked, you're not God, I'm going to need you to be quiet. That's it. That's all. I'm going to just need you to be quiet, because if you're not the creator of the universe and God, if you can't back up your opinion with some scientific fact, then that's just your opinion, and it's cool. It's okay to have it. 773-797-2409 is the number. But we're not going to make it like your opinion is the end all be all. This is how you feel. You have the right to feel that way. Just like this, what I'm about to say, I have a right to feel this way. Black folks, I'm speaking directly to my people. We're gonna have to hit the fast forward button on getting our act together immediately. Every single solitary day on the news, if you're watching the news, you will see racism at its finest, and it is presented to you as if it's an opinion, or if it's a Freudian slip. One of the things I looked at, I haven't watched this show in about a year. I kind of half checked out of the show maybe 3 years ago, but I haven't just tuned in on a consistent basis in the year. But for whatever reason, I watched this show that a lot of people think, in their opinion, in my opinion, I think it's a racist show. But a lot of people like this guy because he says some cool things and he speaks up for some other people. But I believe it's a lot of racial undertones in this show. And it's a show called Real Time on HBO. This guy named Bill Maher, he dates black women. And just so happened it was an attempted porn star that it was documented that he was dating this young lady, Corinne Steffens. I'm not going to call her by her stage name, so to speak. She was allegedly good at fellatio. If for those who don't know, y'all know who I'm talking about. If you're in line with pop culture, he talks about smoking marijuana and he speaks his mind. And I think the dude is a staunch racist. He hides his racism in the midst of liberalism. It's like cooking a cake. If I put strychnine poisoning in the greatest tasting cake in the world, I still tried to kill you. It's still poison. Even though it's nutritious. It's eggs and cake, and it's milk and cake, and those things are good for you. And cake is delicious, and I really like that kind of cake, but it's still poison in the cake. Bill Maher is a bigot, and I truly believe, to me, he's a bigot, and he kind of proved he kind of put a stamp on it for me last night. He had this brother on there, and we all know, as Chuck D said back in 1989, every brother ain't a brother. All kinfolks ain't skinfolks. All skinfolks ain't kinfolks. And they were talking about this woke movement, and Bill Maher is so excited about this black man who was knocking the woke movement. And he was a black Democrat and a liberal. So, that really means, that's to me, that's what racist people do. Just like when Fox get the Jason Whitlocks of the world and that dude, I can't think his name, Jesse Lee, whatever his name is, and the Candace Owens. So this dude got a liberal version of a Candace Owens, a dude who claims to have the best interest in the community. He's not speaking down to the community, but he agrees a lot with what Bill Maher says. And they were talking about the woke movement. Now, if you're an intelligent person, you understand that some of this woke stuff is over the top. We can't, as they mentioned, you can't joke the way you want to joke. You can't make a mistake. You've heard me say that. Look, man, we've lost the concept of a teaching moment. There are people that make statements that we deem potentially racist, and we no longer try to help that person. We write them off as a bigot. I get it, man. I understand it, and it's wrong. But when you start talking about things like there's no such thing as white privilege, and Bill Maher, well, where's the white privilege in this guy? You can't be born with a privilege and then never lose it. Well, here's an example of what I'm talking about. Here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Bill Maher and this guy said you can't be born with white privilege and you can't ever lose it. That's a lie. And you know what? There's a lot of people that's sitting around Earth right now, and they're saying, oh, man, they're right. And how you going to have white privilege? I've never had it. Well, guess what, man? Every black man in the United States of more, you know what? Because it's always that one. Most black men in the United States of America, they are in a situation like this. If you've been a black dude driving down the street in the United States of America, and you may not have gotten nervous, but if you look in your rearview mirror and you see a police car and you go, I hope they don't start this nonsense. Or when you get pulled over, you don't do what I did about a year ago. Legally driving, insured, my car, plates, sticker, window sticker, because you need a window sticker and plate stickers in Chicago, city sticker, state registration. All of that intact. And I literally said, this might be it for me. Yeah, I said that. I said, these dudes might try to kill me. Now, if you haven't ever, or when the police driving down the street and they slow down and look, if you don't think, here we go with this bull, most white men in America don't have to deal with that. Most white men in America don't have to deal with. Well, guess what? That's a privilege, because it should be an inalienable right, like they say in the Constitution, but it's not. It's not. I understand that white men get harassed by the cops too, but and I also understand it's propaganda to make them, to make us not want to join the police force, to continue to show white men and talk about the racist white men in the police force. Make us not want to join, infiltrate, and tear that foolishness down. But we need to reverse that, as I said Tuesday. But one thing I do understand is this. If you are not being followed in stores, if you're not the first person to be being assumed that it has done something wrong, if you've never fit the description, and things of this nature, that's a privilege. That's white privilege. If your community wasn't invented, redlining wasn't a part of discriminating your community, that would. And when people make statements like, "Oh man, it's worse now than it was then," see, the thing is, we must also take the ability to look at things laterally. When you want to look at something straight down the pipe, yeah, people, yes. Yes, if you just look at it, it's not worse because we are not being hung. Well, we're still being lynched because whether you want to admit it or not, sir, who was sitting there with Bill Maher last night, whether you want to admit it or not, yeah, we are being lynched. Because when you see those brothers, we got to marry different names and they add sisters to the names now. When those people are getting shot for no reason at all, when Tamir Rice getting stepped out of his car and within seconds you shooting 12-year-old boys, when you have a dude who got choked out in front of the world, and have you ever been worried about that? No. When you have a guy who's allegedly speaking up for the community on ESPN, when you on Disney, you ain't gonna say too much erroneous, too many erroneous things. When you got a dude like Mark Cuban who says he's a man of the people and speaks up for the people, and he says, well, see, what we have to do is realize everybody has prejudices. If you see a big 6 foot or 6'2", 6'3" white guy walking down the street, he's a skinhead, and he got a hood and nose rings and a bunch of earrings and a mohawk, you gonna cross the street. Just like if you see a black dude in a hoodie. So you got to make this other dude a monster, and the brother just could be out Johnny. That's a privilege. That's white privilege. And if you want to be ignorant or obtuse enough to assume that you don't get it, then I'm questioning your ability to empathize with what's going on. Stop telling me you down for the cause and you can't understand or identify with discrimination against me and my folks. So yeah, Bill Maher, it's easy for you to stand around. You know what? It's easy to sleep with a black woman. Most of them look good. Most of them have some type of magnetic appeal that'll attract most of y'all. So we get it. Yeah, I sleep with, I date black women. That ain't hard. That ain't hard. Guess what? Thomas Jefferson molested a sister, 14 years old. He the man. People, I bet you, if we dug deep enough, Andrew Jackson, one of the most racist presidents in the history of the United States of America, he too had white confidants. So I don't want to hear about I'm attracted to your women, therefore I don't hate you. Because your actions, lust is attracted to anything. You can have the least attractive sister in the world, and she probably getting some action. So just because you're attracted to something or you want to fornicate with something does not mean you don't hate it. Because, hey man, people in the United States of America pull up all over the world, but we're talking about America now. People pull up in cars and signal for prostitutes to come at them all the time, and they have sex with those people in cars, putting their freedom and life in jeopardy in some cases. Because I bet you a lot of these dudes ain't using safe sex. So, hey, so don't tell me about that. The whole term, the derogatory term that black folks put on white folks is a direct correlation to that. Honkies. You listen to Dick Gregory, according to Dick Gregory, the term honky means pulling up to the road, to the side of the road, blowing your horn, and black women of the evening come and service you. So I don't want to hear about, oh man, you're cool because of this. Because it was an Egyptian sister on there. Bill Maher didn't identify her as Egyptian. I think he just assumed that she was black, just American black. And he was running Muslims into the ground. And he destroys Muslims to no end. And she allowed him to bury himself. And then once he got through burying himself, she turned to him and said, you know what? If you spoke about the Jews or the black people, the way you speak about Muslims, they will fire you from this very from this very network. What are you talking about? She was like, because I'm Muslim and I'm from Egypt. And he tried to make fun of it. Oh, Egypt don't crack. Ha 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 ha. Hell, Bill Maher. It ain't funny. And what people like Bill Maher make it fashionable, whether you believe it or not, in my personal opinion, he makes it fashionable for racists to become comfortable in saying what they want to say. And I mean that. Because I don't care if you say, man, yo, HRap, that's a cool shirt. Yo, HRap, that's a cool necklace. Yo, HRap, that's a cool name. Yo, HRap, you got a haircut. That's all good, nigga. That erased all that good stuff you said about me. And Bill Maher thinks because you're not attacking black people directly, or you're not saying those magic words, N-word, spook, coon, jigaboo, porch monkey, things like that. I'm not racist. Yes, you are. You are, because anytime you condemn you fashion yourself an intelligent person, cool. I'm going to give you intelligence. I don't know if you're intelligent or not, but I'm going to give you intelligence just for the sake of the conversation. But anytime you fashion yourself an intelligent, well thought out person, but you sit around and talk about the tenets of Islam and talk about people who participate in that faith as if they're animals or if they're monsters, then guess what? That's racism in full effect. That's discrimination. That's bigotry. Because if we're not talking about mathematics, there are no exacts. 2 + 2 will always be 4. 4 + 4 will always be 8. All black people aren't anything. All white people aren't anything. All Asians aren't anything. All Muslims aren't anything. All Jews aren't anything. All Christians, so forth, Buddhists, so forth and so on. So when you start talking about Islam and promoting the negative image and in your liberal audience's mind, what you've done is created discrimination, just like they do. All black people can run. All black people can jump. All black people can dance. All black people can sing. And that's not true. Because all people who say things like that are stupid, are bigots, are hate mongers, are destructive people to the earth. And if you don't like it, so what? Because that's the truth, man. You have no right to put these negative stereotypes on these people under no circumstances. Just no more than someone has the right to do that to people in my community. J. Ron is in the building. Thank you all the way from Canada, man. But people who do these things need to be called out. And when they're not called out, don't get mad because the people on the other side from Bill Maher, because it's amazing to me. It's the one amazing thing to me about people like Bill Maher and other people who swear to God that they're righteous and they do the right thing and they down for the cause. Those people are utterly amazing to me for this reason and this reason only. I have a lot of friends from all walks of life. Whether you want to believe it or not, I got friends who are FBI agents, CIA agents, DIA agent. They've introduced me to their friends. I got attorney buddies. I got police buddies. I got somebody just drug dealers. I know people who are murderers. I know people who walk every line of the human diaspora, right? But guess what? I'm not hanging out with people who are the dudes who I knew who were part of situations in which they were inflicted and they ended up killing someone. I wasn't hanging with them when they were killing people. Now these people they've done their time. They've done time in the penitentiary. They got out and they're working individuals and they're productive members of society today. But when they were doing what they were doing to get them incarcerated, I wasn't hanging out with them. Hey, man, what's going on? Hey, when they say you're going to kill somebody or whatever, I wasn't doing that. And wherever you are in life, that's where you are. And don't tell me, well, I got some friends who are racist, but, I got some friends who are bigoted, but, I don't have no friends like that. Because bigotry and racism and hate is a form of, it is a social coronavirus metaphorically. Or a social cancer. It is eroding the world. It is eating away at the people of the world. Because the moment you are brave enough to tell somebody that they're not good enough because of the way they look, because of the way they sound, because of the way they talk, you are just as bad as these people who create these entities to do away with people because of whatever. And people like, if you ask me, people like Bill Maher make people comfortable. Because if he can jokingly dismiss people and do away with people, then guess what? I can say it and I can say anything I want. And what I'll do is write it off as Oh, well, that's my opinion. That's the way I feel. You can't tell me that I'm wrong because that's the way I see it. Well, if you can say that, then one of these hate mongers that I'm about to talk about, they can say it too. And what brings this to mind is because this week I saw a dude who's a lawmaker in Tennessee stand in front of the House of Representatives or the Congress or the state Congress or the state legislator and say, well, everything about Twitter, ha ha ha. Everything, everything about slavery, ha ha ha. It's the good and the bad, the good and the bad. It took another lady, because I'm like, she's a white lady, but I shouldn't even identify her culture because she was attempting to do what was right. She may have been part of his get down, but I'm gonna give her credit for it. This lady stood up and like, what's the good thing about slavery? Oh, I was just joking. And then you got another guy who did the exact same thing. We can talk about the good and the bad of slavery. And I'm trying to understand, where's the good part of capturing someone, stripping them of everything that is them, destroying a piece of their, attempting to destroy a piece of their humanity. And as my Aunt Rita say, beat you down to buck private. Where's the good part about that? And, oh yeah, by the way, once you and the government of the country that we live in today have a war about you doing what you want to do versus you receding because you thought you were the rich and powerful, and they didn't want to lose their money, so they were going to war. And one of the tenets of that war was maintaining free labor for my people. And then once you lost, the people who are in charge create laws and create laws called the black laws to do away with your humanity. So now you're in a worse situation. So now we don't, you're not in bondage anymore. But what you are in is a conundrum because if you're standing around, we created laws. If you're standing around being a vagrant, you go to jail. So now you're back in bondage. Or if you don't have a job, you're back in bondage. Or if you and three other black people standing around, and you and three other black people standing around without a white person, you go to jail for that too. So we created laws. Oh yeah, by the way, we helped fund the Ku Klux Klan. Oh yeah, by the way, y'all didn't know that. Then we help fund the Ku Klux Klan. Then we create this police force to hunt you. We transition what we used to call slave catching, transition them to police officers. Oh, then the 1900s come, or the late 1800s come. Then Andrew Jackson grabbed you, the Africans, and the people that you identify as Indians, which is a total farce in itself because they are not from India. They're from North America, which it wasn't North America, it was Turtle Island. We could just go on and on about the facilitation of ignorance that we call history, his story. But a lot of our ancestors walked across from Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and moved them up into the Oklahoma territory, which used to be the blackest part of the country. Not in regards to population, it was the blackest part of the country because we we used to run the place. We had the finances going down. We had land ownership. We were in charge there. But like I said, when we got up out of there, that's 1820. They never tell you about that. They just tell you, I got to get out of this. No, there's a lot of brothers and sisters took the trails of tears in Oklahoma and got it popping. So these are the things that racists, jackasses, and these lawmakers and politicians they sit around and make light of things. And then you got people like Mitt Romney and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Which, how do you get married and keep the same name, but you just not want the Jewish bias that comes along with your husband's last name? Who knows? But when they stand in front of the world and say America's not a racist country, America is the area that we call America is built on racism. Again, watch exterminate all the brutes, and you will see how white men in America took a proverbial broom of violence and swept away a whole nation of people. And you create laws to discriminate, and you create financial institutions that say, we are not going to sell you a house. We're not going to give you the money to buy a house because we're not going to insure you outside of this area. And insurance companies won't insure you outside of this area. so you can't buy a house. And we do these things over and over again, but it's not a racist country. So this is why people like Bill Maher. This is why people like Mitt Romney. Not Mitt. I can never think of this dude's name. He's the senator, one of the state senators in the state of Kentucky. And I think of his name in a little while. Mitch McConnell. These people like Mitch McConnell stand in front of the world and make these proclamations. And then you got ignorant ass people who are prepared to buy into anything that the television says anyway. And they buy into it because it makes sense. But actually doesn't make sense. What it does is affirm the bullshit and the nonsense that they participate in. But we don't ever do that because we're too nice of people to do that. We don't really want to rock the boat, and we want to see the good in people. But people, I'm here to tell you, the homie J. Ron is in the chat room. He is representative of a small minority, of people who are willing to just deal with you as a human being. He's a part of a small minority, and that is a group of people that want to deal with us as human beings. I am not going to ever, and I'm telling you, no matter when this show becomes billions of people watching it, I don't have anything against any culture, but I'm just telling you right now, whoever is in charge, I'm not going to trust you. Because especially if you live in the United States of America, because people are poisoned by power in this country. People will poison themselves for money. I'm going to say it again. People are poisoned by power and money. Because soon as you think that you have an inkling of a way to get in, most people in this country will stab you in your damn back. And they will say, well, I'm trying to chase the bag. Hey, man, the bag will never get deep enough. It is never going to be big enough for me not to be the exact same dude I am now. I'm not going to trust the vast majority of the people outside of our culture and put that number in inverse. And I'm not going to trust the same amount of people that I trust outside of my culture. It's the same amount of people that I don't trust inside of my culture. Because people allow money and power to influence a lot of their decisions. You have people that are inside of my culture that will sell me out, sell you out, and kill your black ass just so they can be approved by the power structure. Senator Scott in South Carolina. The dude who was on Bill Maher's show. Jason Whitlock, Stephen A. Smith. Anytime you stand up in front of the world as a descendant of an African that was captured and brought over here, or a descendant of an African who was already over here and captured, and you make this statement, I'm a capitalist, you are a delusional human being in my eyes. Because capitalism is the reason your grandparents, your great-grandparents, and their great-grandparents were stuck here in the first place, because nobody saw humanity in our people. What they saw were objects. And if money is that important to you, you will do anything for it. Man, there's no such thing. Don't, and I'm not one of these jerks. I'm saying it like that. I'm not one of these jerks. Money can't buy you happiness. You know what? Money can buy away my sadness. Because you know what? If you're depressed and you're jacked up, if you got money, you have the ability to go see a therapist. If you're not feeling well and you're in the diet, you don't see a lot of rich people dying from heart disease and things of that nature. I got my man D Great in the building, X-Squad affiliate. You don't see those people. You don't see those people dying from that. So stop falling. Hey, money ain't a thing, says the guys who's rich, but the broke people out here saying life's a bitch. That's Sean Price. That ain't HRap. The late, great, rest in peace, Sean Price. Because money it might not buy you happiness, but it'll get you close enough. It'll put you in the same room as happiness. Then you got to go get it. Because guess what? For the people who keep telling you money don't buy you happiness, this is what I want you to do. The things that stress you out, the things that piss you off, and things of that nature, the things that cause you to strife in your life today. Make a list of them. I bet you all of them are tied to finance, the job that you don't like, all these damn bills. I'm not feeling well. If you had enough money, you eat at Whole Foods. If you had enough money, you pay all your bills in January. Your light bill is this much every month. You do the numbers and just pay it all on January 1st, and you would be done. The car note, all that stuff would be you just pay your car off. So I don't want to hear no nonsense. All money can't buy you happiness. You know what? Money will get rid of a lot of the things that cause you misery, though. So that's why I don't trust people who are at the top, because they are money hungry, money grubbing bastards. And guess what? Your man HRap want all that money. But you know what? It ain't gonna change me. It ain't gonna change. I know it ain't gonna change me. Tell you what. Let your boy, you know what it changed? It'll change my studio. Because I'm still going to be on here speaking. I'm going to go play the lottery after the show. Let me win. And I'm going to be feeling the same way. I'm just going to help my family. I'm just going to help my family and my friends. I got my sister, Lauren, in the building. Lauren from Indiana. She's in the building. Much love. But good to see you. It's always good to see you. With that being said, because Lauren is a history buff, she's definitely in line for what I'm about to show y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is the End of the Bench podcast. Build and destroy, where we build up our community and destroy the lies and propaganda about us. Conversations by us, about us, to improve us on Built for This network. And what I'm going to do is show y'all a brief video of some stuff that I think is intriguing and important for us to know. I'll be back briefly. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be back shortly. This is HRap.
I am a proud new partner of Car Marshal. If you are interested in a new or used car, please click on the link in my description box below. No credit check, no cosigner. That's Car Marshal. One soldier named Harry Haywood returned home to find himself immersed in another war in his own country. During the Red Summer of 1919, 2 soldiers were killed during a riot in Chicago. Harry met with fellow veterans, and they all decided to arm themselves. The war had changed them. Some veterans, upon returning home, resisted homegrown racism on their own shores, and they were ready to fight white supremacy. Even President Woodrow Wilson failed to advocate for the civil rights of the black veterans. During the war, black soldiers were placed in segregated units. One exception was the 93rd Combat Division, which was assigned to the French military. The 93rd received high praise from the French and blacks back home. However, upon their return to America, it meant nothing to the whites. The veterans' resentment often expressed through their migration to the North. Their involvement in other organizations and their writings. Black veterans used newspapers and journals to chronicle their wartime experiences. And they also joined various organizations who shared their values. In Chicago, a black teenager named Eugene Williams crossed the line of a segregated beach on Lake Michigan on a raft. An angry white mob began throwing rocks at him. Eugene slipped off his raft and drowned. This was the beginning of a race riot. Black witnesses wanted the whites to be arrested, but the police refused. So the black folks began raising hell, and an all-out brawl kicked off, spreading from the beach to all across the city. Many black rioters were arrested, while white folks were let off the hook. The militia needed to be called in. Over 1,000 black families lost their homes because white folks burnt them to the ground. In Elaine, Arkansas, the soldiers was coming back from World War I. Over 300,000 blacks had enlisted. A man named Robert Hill started a union for sharecroppers and fought for fair payment. During one of their meetings, the group was threatened by a bunch of angry whites. One of the men exchanged gunfire, leaving a white man for dead. After that, there was a fear of a black uprising. The town of Elaine quickly spreaded the news of a black sharecropping rebellion, and they wanted blood. The word was, the town is under attack, and the blacks are coming. The next day, mobs of angry white men hit the streets, looking to murder. The white men burnt down homes and killed anything black. Anything in sight that was black was getting murdered, including women and children. They were even cutting off fingers, hands, and feet for souvenirs. Governor Charles Brock sent in over 500 soldiers from the U.S. Army. Once the troops arrived, all the blacks that were hiding came out for rescue, and the troops filled all of them with bullets. Most of the ones who did survive were sentenced to death by electric chair. In Jenkins County, Georgia, a man named Edmund Scott was arrested on a gun charge. The community was trying to bail him out, but the officers sold him cash only, no checks. A man who they called Mr. Ruffin pulled one of the officers to the side to have a word with him, and the officer cracked him over the head with his gun. Mr. Ruffin's son shot the officer and killed him. One officer wounded and the other officer dead. The town was outraged. The town lynched both of Mr. Ruffin's sons. In Omaha, Nebraska, a black man named Will Brown was accused of raping a white woman. During his trial, an angry mob of 10,000 white people showed up to the courthouse and demanded that they hand over the rapist. They set fire to the courthouse, and William Brown was lynched in front of a huge crowd.
Thank you for tuning in. This is HRap on Built for This Network. This is a podcast called The End of the Bench, Build and Destroy, where we build up the community, destroy the propaganda and lies that around our community. It is a conversation about us, by us, on how to improve us. And these are the things that I'm talking about. See, a lot of people don't like the fact that I said what I said before I came in. Before I even move forward, I want to welcome to the show. I got my sister Black Swan. I got my brother Batar. He there in the building. Thank y'all for tuning in. Please, if you are listening in the background, thank you. But I need you to come forward and hit that like button. Hit that like button. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get a notification anytime I come on, so people know that I'm in. That way you'll know I'm in play and not going, oh, I thought y'all didn't know. There you go. With that being said, but like I said, man, this is why I said what I said about population and the people of the world. See, that National Guard thing is, I'm gonna highlight that at the end of the month. If you heard it properly, if you were listening closely, you heard the man say that some people, the National Guard came in, and some brothers and sisters came out and thought they were getting some assistance, right? And when they came out and got their alleged assistance, the National Guards got them down. That's National Guardsmen got them down. Same thing happened to our ancestors in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The National Guard got deputized by the city government, and they murdered other brothers and sisters back then. They try to pretend there were only 200 people that got murdered, but me, you, and anybody with anything that resembles a brain know that that's not the truth. They had people in holes, just mass grave sites. So when you're looking at things like that and you understand that this is pure madness and foolishness, this is why I tell you, I ain't trying to hear nobody who talking about they are capitalists living in the United States of America, because capitalists capitalize on humans, and we were the object of capitalism. So if you're dumb enough to say I'm a capitalist and you look like me and you part of my community, you, my friend, you are unofficially a dumbass. Now, with that being said, what I want you to do is just understand. This is why I said we got allies from all communities all over the world. Only a damn fool will sit around and go, hey, you're white. I don't like you. You're Asian. They don't do this for us. We don't do this. Only a damn fool will do that. But understand, where you think most people are good, and no, most people aren't good. Because see, if most people were good, you wouldn't have the problems you had today. Guess what? If most people were good, people wouldn't walk into Asian nail shops and 3 different nail techs and murder them. If most people were good, people couldn't walk their ass in Marvesi's church, the AME church, and murder 9 of our brothers and sisters. Shoot down 9 of our brothers and sisters, excuse me. Some of those people survived. If people were good, you wouldn't have nightclub shootings. If people were good, you wouldn't have all these random acts of violence against our culture and other cultures. So most people aren't good. There are very few of us that are good. I'm just telling you that right now. Period. Full stop. That's it. So, but the good people must galvanize, especially the good people in our community. See, a lot of people like to speak about the world in its entirety. I can only worry about my family for right now, because you know what? My family is under attack worldwide. There are certain segments of the population in the world that are under attack, and I'm going to talk about that. But my family, if you are descendant of the great continent of Africa, you are under attack worldwide, on your homeland and throughout the world. On your homeland and throughout the world, we're under attack. Whether you call yourself Haitian, whether you call yourself Caribbean, whether you call yourself Central American, South American, African, or wherever else you've landed, if you are part of my culture, you're under attack. And it's time, this is why I keep saying, man, it's time for us to galvanize as a community, as a family. Because see, when you say community, It's the people in your community that you don't like, and that's something else I'm going to attack right now. I don't need you to like everybody. That stupid ass word, that stupid ass term, we're not a monolith. Neither is your family. But I guarantee, as I see my brother Patar, as I see my brother D-Grade, as I saw my brother DJ Mad Knox, as I saw my sister's Black Swan, I guarantee you, everybody who I just named has an issue with at least one family member. At least one family member. But guess what? Walk your ass up in front of that family member that he or she is having beef with and put your hands on them. All of a sudden, they're not a monolith because they're arguing and fighting. But when you put your hands on that family member, they become a monolith. So let's stop even using that terminology, because what does that mean? Nobody. There's some people who watch my show faithfully every week, twice a week, from all over the world. I get shout outs on Twitter, I get phone calls, I get texts. But guess what? They don't agree with everything I say, but they support me. So when I don't need a damn army of soldiers, there's like the Third Reich and High Hitler and whatever HRap say, that's right. No. Because guess what? If HRap says something stupid, I'm going to need you to come in the chat room. I'm going to need you to add me at HRap_B on Instagram or Twitter, or find me on Facebook. And say, hey, Joe, I don't rock with that. That's crazy. And then we going to have a conversation, and then we going to work it out. So I don't need that. No sane human being needs everybody that rocks with him to agree with everything he says, because at that point you become a dictator. You're not a person trying to help the people. You're trying, see, what I've discovered is this. In a lot of cases, my brothers who love the black community and see, I'm out here to help the brothers. Those same brothers that's out here to help the brothers, you know what they doing? They don't really want to help the brothers and the sisters. They want to be the reason the brothers and sisters got saved. They don't want Jesse Jackson to save the day. They don't want Louis Farrakhan to save the day. They don't want Al Sharpton to save the day. They don't want HRap to save the day. Dr. Umar, Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Boyce Watkins, Karen Hunter. They don't want them to save the day, even if they got the best plan. They want to say, see, it was me. So they shoot down every single solitary thing that somebody else says. Even some of the people that I named, I don't agree with. But allegedly, the persona that they put out in front of the world is to help my folks. So if you telling everybody you trying to help my folks, I'm going to take you at your word. And then if you don't do it, then I ain't going to rock with you. I ain't finna, you'll never. See, that's one thing about podcasting that's really turning me off. Shout out to all the podcasts I listen to. That's one thing about podcasting that's turning me off. And the thing that's turning me off about podcasting is this. As I watch, it used to be people sharing opinions. Chief Rocker saying, I don't like this. D Great saying, I like that. Like, you tune in to Chief Rocker on Monday, you're going to hear people screaming on Chief Rocker, screw the Giants, screw the Yankees, screw the Knicks. Then you're going to get D Great show, and D Great, he got less of a combative staff. And not what Chief Rocker doing is wrong, but because Chief Rocker take a lot of abuse, but it's all in fun. Then you got D Great, he's spreading positivity. He talks about love and loving the community and being people's friend and assisting people. But it's some people that D Great, that support D Great, and that support Chief Rocker that don't like rap. And I don't like them, and so forth and so on. But I'm not going, I ain't tuning in to D Great. I ain't tuning in to Chief Rocker's Juicy Head Fred listening. No, I'm supporting Chief Rocker. And that's what we need to start understanding. If the goal is to have fun on Chief Rocker's show, we need to have some damn fun. And if the goal is to enhance relationships on D Great show, we need to enhance relationships. We need to leave all that petty nonsense and talking about people to the wayside, because a lot of these more popular podcasts, they not doing what Chief Rocker or doing what D Great do. You tune into a lot of these podcasts, And their whole get down is talking about what somebody else's business is. Now, I'm not going to say no names, DJ Vlad, punk ass. But it's a lot of people that saw the success of that dude, and they are starting to mimic it. See, it's one thing to talk about a situation and bring up Patar. See, did y'all know that this happened to Patar? Da da da. Or did y'all know Patar was doing this? Da 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 da. Did y'all know HRap was doing that? Did you know Chief Rocker? This is the situation. But when we start having podcasts discussing Patar or Chief Rocker's marital status, we have officially fallen off the wagon, because I don't care what Patar or Chief Rocker's marital status is. I don't care that one of the most rich and powerful men in the world is getting divorced. You know what? And then that allows me to segue into that. The whole country this week was talking about Bill and Melinda Gates are getting divorced. How about this? And what's going to happen is Melinda Gates is going to do what Jeff Bezos' wife did after she got the $40 billion. Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? Do you know Melinda Gates is staying in a house that costs $125,000 a day? How does that free us people? How does that help us? It don't help us 1 milliliter. It does not help us 1 iota. It does nothing for us. So why are we talking about it? I don't want to talk about it. This is what I do want to talk about. The fact that Bill Gates is the largest farmland owner in America. We sitting around pissing and moaning about 40 acres and a mule and $100. That's what we were promised. Bill Gates has 270,000 acres. And they're predicting a food shortage. Bill Gates has 270,000 acres of farmland, and they're predicting a food shortage. What's up? I got my main man, being partner from the host of Forecast. I'm just a member. That's the host. That's the creator. Salute to the chief. Bill Gates has 270,000 acres of farmland. He's the largest single farmland owner in the United States of America. But we talking about how his fortune is going to be divvied up. Why ain't we talking about that? Why aren't we talking about a dude who, and Bill Gates, who are you spookism people and all you conspiracy theorists? Oh man, Bill Gates trying to poison us. Why is he talking all this vaccination stuff? Da, 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 da. So you trying to free us? Okay, cool. But why ain't y'all people saying, why does he own that much farmland? Why does Bill Gates own that much farmland? Because guess what? I'm going to take the slide from Chief Rocker Show. Bill Gates, back in the early 90s when computers wasn't a thing, made it so everything had to work through Microsoft. So why wouldn't he do that with food? Why wouldn't he try to monopolize food? But we not talking about that. We talking about what his wife gonna do and how much money he got. And nah. Where the food gonna come from? Bill Gates. So now Jeff Bezos is buying up all the stores. And Bill Gates is buying up all the food. Jeff Bezos is buying up all the stores. So you got to shop. If you I shop at Whole Foods, my feces is clear. My urine is invisible. You just hear it hit the water. I'm clean. But I got to buy my food from Jeff Bezos. And I got to go to Whole Foods. But damn, Jeff Bezos just bought Whole Foods. That's why I'm clear. My blood clear. I'm just that healthy. And then Bill Gates is providing you with the food, providing Jeff Bezos with that food that's going to help you live longer. I don't know about that. The reason I don't know about, but man, rap, Bill Gates was running around here trying to get people vaccinated. But then, guess what? Bill Gates stepped out and said these underdeveloped countries, they're not going to treat the vaccination thing right. I don't know if they need to get it. Because, Africa was suing his ass. A lot of countries in Africa was suing Bill Gates. So now you got mad and want to strike out against our folks over there. See, again, and then you always got that black dude standing around talking about. Shout out to Rhonda, she in the building, much love. You always got that one black dude that's standing around talking about, Africans don't like us. How the hell you gonna speak for a whole continent of people, man? How the hell you gonna speak for a couple billion people, man? We don't like you because you stupid. But I'm just telling you, man, Bill Gates, that's y'all guy. Anybody who tries to dominate and monopolize anything cannot be trusted. I'm here to tell you. But we talking about Harry. Oh, yeah, by the way, shout out, I can't think his name right now. Shout out to the Irish buddy I got. Just matter. He listened to the show. And he bought this to me. Why everybody talking about Prince Harry and Queen Elizabeth? And look what they did to my people. I'm Irish. And they some of the greatest brutalizers in the history of the world in regards to slavery and things of that nature, too. So your people should hate them, too. Told y'all, man, it's people out here that think, yo, HRap, you racist, man. You be tripping, man. You be on the white folks. No, I be on the powerful people. And it's so having a lot of those people look like white folks, so you say white people. When you say white people, it's not disparaging every single solitary white person in the world. But y'all, anybody with anything that symbolizes any semblance of a brain, y'all know who I'm talking about. These jackasses that think that Donald Trump, watched Donald Trump for 4 years, say, if I lose the next election, they cheated. And if I lose the next election, they cheated. If I lose the next election, they cheated. He said it for 4 years, and then he lost the next election. And then the whole world says, his whole group says, y'all cheated. Remember I mentioned the Nazis early in the conversation. The Nazis tested out, went to South Africa, tested out all they nonsense on our brothers and sisters down there, and then put it on the Jews. Guess something else they did. Guess what else some of the Nazis did? The Nazis said, they leaders said, if you tell a lie loud enough and long enough, it'll become the truth. Ta-da! Ta-da! See, I'm trying to free us, man, because this is where you need to be freed first. You free right here first. Nothing else can hold you down, man. Nothing else hold you down. So we ain't finna sit around and talk about Bill Gates. No, because that ain't helping the black community one single solitary bit. And like Tiffany Aliche, the budgetnista, she got this book for black women, helping black women learn about finance. She writes sis in the book all the time. She said a white dude wrote her a letter and said, hey, this book's so good, I don't even mind you calling me sis. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, when you're so uber sensitive and you so want to pick out the flaws and the nonsense that I say or somebody else say, you are a hate monger who has no business trying to help anybody in humanity. But when you realize that somebody like myself may say some things that are inflammatory in your opinion, but the truth don't care who tell it. I'm going to say it again. The truth don't care who tell it. And that's just the name of that tune. Period. So as I try to present things that I know to be true and show you that you are in peril because you're not following the direction of myself or people who are way more informed than me, Sister Karen Hunter, Sister Brother Elder the Black Eagle, Joe Madison, Sister Marie Daniel Favors, Brother Clay Kane, Sister Heather B, Karen Hunter, Big Al Sharpton, Craig Fax, Zoe Williams, Talib Kweli, Shannon Shaw. See, y'all think these dudes are just rappers and entertainers. These dudes be presenting to you a way out. They have quality people on their show so those quality people can trigger you and then you can move in the right direction. So we can sit around and get mad or we can get active and get things in order. Because I read this book officially 30 years ago this week. No kidding. Probably 30 years ago today. It was the first 2 weeks in May that I read this book in 1991. And this book said the Creator will always provide you with a way to find out the truth. Your enemy will show you the truth via television, music, radio. Wasn't no YouTube back then, so he wouldn't have said that, right? And we keep seeing the truth over and over that we are under attack and most people are against us. I'm not even going to, the first part of this is not even going to talk about the people in my community. You got the Republican Party. Senator John McCain was one of the most Republican people you could ever meet. And I respected him after Barack Obama won his first election because they started at his rally, they started dissing Barack Obama. John McCain stopped the rally and said, wait a minute, I lost. Barack Obama is a good man. And he didn't have to do that. I don't know him as a person. I don't know anything about. I know he a war veteran, and I know when he could have deal with these creeps do now, he said no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna disparage anybody. We're not gonna put dirt on his name. We're gonna see what's gonna happen. But guess what they doing now? All those potentially good people that y'all say. See, he one of the few, and like I told y'all, it's about 30% of the people from outside of our culture that I trust. And inside our culture, I don't trust 30%. It's the same number both ways. But I don't know if I trust John McCain, but I'm just saying, in that moment where he could have been a douche, he was like, nah, we don't do that. I lost, and that's what's up. But his daughter she's a senator. And her constituents are saying, since you are not repeating a lie that was told to us that we chose to believe, we're not going to support you. They told her, we ain't voting for you no matter who run against you. So I can run my black behind up there and be like, it was stolen, and they going to vote for me. That's the sad part. That's how you know it's foolishness. And again, here's another example. You don't want to take that one. The fact that, and this also leads right into another point that I had. Derek Chauvin may get another trial. Yeah, the dude who killed George Floyd, the murderer of George Floyd, may get another trial. The reason he may get another trial, or they're trying to discuss if he's going to get another trial, and how the judge in the trial, who should have, since the judge didn't remove himself, this juror shouldn't be having to remove himself, right? But George Floyd's murderer, Derek Chauvin, may get another trial because one of the jurors was seen at a anti-Derek Chauvin rally, and he had a "Don't Stand on Our Neck" t-shirt. But the real problem is this brother got caught up in the hype. He done about 50 million interviews, and he's the star student of the jury. Brothers and sisters, I told y'all that wasn't a victory, and I'm asking y'all this. When we win in a system that is totally against us, you ain't got to cower. But when you're dealing with something as sensitive as the murder trial of our brother George, as Jay-Z said, I'm going to need y'all to gracefully bow out of those situations. You don't need no pub, man. You didn't even do anything. No disrespect to that brother, but he didn't do anything. You know what he did? He sat in the room, saw a dude kneel on somebody's neck for 9 minutes and some change, and said, yeah, you killed him. So you didn't do anything worth being thought about. And my sister Rhonda just posed a question. Thank you, Rhonda. And if anybody else, like I told y'all, man, if anybody got anything else to say, please say it. Please challenge me. Because if I say something that's erroneous, if I say something that's inflammatory that bothers you, please. Because, again, this is the End of the Bench podcast, Build and Destroy, where I'm attempting to build up our community, destroy lies and propaganda. If I make a mistake, put me on blast. It's okay. I'm going to still be your friend. I'm going to still be this dude on this show every week. Sister Rhonda, her question is, I thought you couldn't be tried twice for the same crime. He wouldn't be tried for the same, Rhonda. He wouldn't be tried twice. And that's just what you're speaking about is what's called double jeopardy. That wouldn't be double jeopardy. They are going to say it was a mistrial because he didn't have a fair shake, because that dude was automatically biased because he had gone to a rally. His mind was already made up. So he did what they're going to try to say is he went into this with a biased point of view. So there wasn't a fair trial, therefore he needs to be tried again. And Stevie Wonder, they could put Stevie Wonder, Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles and Helen Keller and any other blind people in the history of the world on there. Have them watch the video, and you would know that was murder. But that's just what's going on. But see, again, man, but when you're dealing with a system, you know, the same people who are upset, look at the irony in this. The same people who are upset with the Derek Chauvin verdict and the fact that Derek Chauvin is going to jail for putting his knee on a man's neck for 9 minutes are the same people that hate OJ. Help me understand. OJ allegedly killed 2 people. You killed 1. Because no matter what we do, we will never. The creator of the universe, O.J. Simpson, Nicole Brown Simpson, and that other boy, I can't think his name, Ron Goldman, are the only people who know who killed those people. So, you know, so that's what it is. Shenanigans, all in their minds were made up before that jury. Lord have his mercy. Exactly. But these are the games that we play, and they call it law. They say this is what keeps our country in order. I mean, and this is why I'm not telling nobody when you win to bow down, y'all. I'm not telling you that. But when you know the deck is stacked against you, we could flow show like it's a bunch of people. My man, I ain't gonna say his name. My man he's a hard ass. Let's put it this way. He has called himself jerk ass XYZ and said his name. He is conservative as all get out. Man, he will tell you, yeah, I think OJ did it, but so damn what? He went home. Now in most cases, he gonna toe the line in conservatism, and me and him have had knockdown, drag out 3-4 hour conversations about things. And he was hardline, and I was grading on the curve. So when you got guys like him that's going, so what? Understand what's going on. But this is what I'm telling you that you're up against. These are the things that you're up against when you're dealing with this non-racist country. But and for those who go, see, you're only looking at it from the black perspective. All I got to do is say 2 words. Robert Blake. Robert Blake. Y'all don't know who he is. He played one of the Little Rascals, and he also played Father Murphy, and he also played Baretta. So if you ain't old enough to know, you got YouTube figured out. But Robert Blake has a dead ex-wife who he consistently argued, fussed, and fight with, and she ended up murdered. Most of you guys don't even know Robert Blake's wife had a strange death. Only reason I know is because I worked at a news organization called Reuters. Largest news organization in the world. Real-time data is what they call it. I'm sitting at my desk at Reuters, and I see Robert Blake, man, come across. Of course, I know who he is. And the murder thing come down. I watched the trial, you know, because I work at a news organization. So I'm privy to certain things that other people that I'm no longer privy to because I no longer work there. And the story went like this. Now, everybody, their mother, their uncle, and their sister's mother will tell you, man, OJ did it. You know, you got such an entertainer making jokes. OJ did it. You know, everybody has an opinion on this. But why ain't we having that debate on Robert Blake? Now, let's do a brief synopsis of OJ's trial, right? For those who think I'm biased. Oh, by the way, I don't think OJ did it because I don't understand how a 40-year-old man killed 2 people, walk away without a scratch, nothing, no scratches, bruises, bumps, nothing. But that's neither here nor there. O.J. Simpson allegedly went to this woman's crib, hid in the bush, jumped out on her, stabbed her, decapitated her, left about this much flesh holding her head to her torso. He then allegedly turned around and fought a young brother who was a black belt and stabbed him 38 times. And for those who are old enough to remember, the original story was he put up a good fight. O.J. Simpson walked away, and you found specks of blood, things of that nature in his car. Bam! He go home. They don't find. He take a shower, wash off all the blood. They find 2 big bloody socks in the middle of the floor because his socks. He had so much blood on him that he had blood inside of his socks, but no footprints up to the blood. Then he got on a plane, went to Chicago, allegedly said, "Oh my God!" and smashed the glass, cut his hand, and ever since then we've been thinking O.J. Simpson killed that woman. Ta-da! How about this? Why don't we know about this? Robert Blake, always arguing, fussing, and fighting with his ex-wife. I think they had a kid. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But they were at lunch. Robert Blake was a conceal and carrier. He was a legal conceal and carry dude, right? Now, they had lunch. They go home. They do with their lunch. If I'm not mistaken, this part might be incorrect. Robert Blake was arguing with his wife. She go to the car. He go, "Oh damn, I left my gun." She go to the car. He go back to get his gun. The gun ain't there. He go back to the car. She got a bullet hole in her head. And they find his smoking gun in the garbage can down the block. Now, why ain't nobody having a debate over that dude getting off on murder? But this ain't a racist country, and cats like me, we just make this stuff up. But back to the situation. This Derek Chauvin trial shows you that you are behind the 8 ball. And this dude who was on Bill Maher yesterday, who really got up under my skin, I hardly ever watch that show anymore. But for whatever reason, I think it was just for me to talk about it on the show, the ancestor said, "Yo, Rap, look at this." I looked up, got captivated. I usually go, "Man, screw Bill Maher, turn," but I had to watch it. That's why people like myself and other people who are woke, quote unquote, hotep, quote unquote, or whatever you want to call us, that's why we make statements like that. Because Bill Maher and this dude is talking about there's no such thing as white privilege. My man Robert Blake, that's white privilege because his name isn't in the mud. OJ's just trash. So, blah, blah, blah. But when you look at these things, this Derek Chauvin thing, the fact that we're talking about Bill and Melinda Gates, we got lawmakers making fun of our social and political stances, and they're belittling the fact that we're being discriminated against. So, I don't know, man. Maybe it's me. And this leads me to what I call the war of the worlds. What y'all don't know right now is, most of y'all may not know, I'm sorry, that this seems totally irrelevant to you, but I tied it. China is attempting to take over Thailand again. And in the midst of that, you have the people in Australia said they're willing to go to war with China over Thailand. So, then you got all this anti-Asian propaganda. The Asian people and the black people don't get along. Well, see, when you say Asian, most of us immediately think Chinese. Right? But those dudes who own those stores in our community, they are Asians. Those Koreans that own those stores are. So what it is it's a lot of anti-Asian propaganda because if you watch 60 Minutes, you saw that that Chinese community have a 100-year plan. You see that a lot of those Asians in the Middle East, those brothers and sisters in the Middle East, they got a boatload of money. Anytime you got more money in America, it's a problem. See, the Asians got a 100-year plan, and their plan is world domination. They're moving into my continent. Yeah, my continent is Africa. Yeah, for all the people who deeper than me. Oh, well, see, we was everywhere. My continent is Africa. You take it up, miss me. They are moving into my continent. They're trying to take over their continent. They're trying to take over the world. They're trying to do exactly what everybody else did. At one point, the Great Britain, the sun never set on the British Empire. Then you had the Julius Caesar and his crew dominated the world. Before that, then you got America dominating the world. They got military bases down there in every fucking town on the earth, or in every country on the earth. And now the Chinese trying to do the same thing. See, I don't have an issue with the Australians and the Chinese battling. What I do have an issue with is this. This needs to be the wake-up call. This needs to be the wake-up call, man. Because we need to start paying attention to other people and other cultures as they attempt to dominate and they get together again. Back to the monolith thing. We're not a monolith, but neither are the Asians, neither are the Australians, neither anybody that walks the earth, but they seem to come together for the greater cause of world domination. I'm not asking to dominate. I'm on some peaches and herd. We need to get reunited and have it feel so good. Because when we get together and work together, we do unbelievable things. Just imagine if we got together, if you could pick a country in Africa and apply for dual citizenship. And then you start, let's go 10,000 at a time. And we start pumping American money into that country. And then you can go over there because you got dual citizenship. You got your American passport, you got your Sierra Leone passport, or your Ghanaian passport, or your Nigerian passport, or so forth and so on. And you can go in there and you can start building things in that country. Because guess what? Their money is worth this, and your money is worth this. So that same $15 an hour that they want to be minimum wage, you be living like a god over there. And then we have the ability to travel the world as we want to. And then we can use our dynamic brains for technology. We can use our dynamic brain for vocation. We can use our dynamic brains for agricultural purposes. Things of that nature. We can start building African towns like they got in LA. That they're trying to gentrify now. Like they have an Egyptian passport. Exactly. Like they got in Alabama, African town. We could build one of them all throughout the United States of America. And then we could get behind our black farmers and our black truck drivers and have them export goods throughout the United States of America too. My man D-Grade, who got the D-Grade grocery store. My man Chief Rocker, who got the Chief Rocker grocery store. My man Patop, who got one in Chicago. My sister Rhonda, who got another one in Chicago. My man Ray the Kev, who got one in Louisiana. Y'all get the feeling? See, while these people are at war, we need to be in a huddle, like on Family Feud. And realize we need to get this done. We need to think more like Republicans. I'm going to say that slow because all of y'all heard was think Republicans or like Republicans. Y'all didn't process. Some people didn't process it. We need to think like Republicans. And what I mean think like Republicans, Republicans get on TV, somebody tells a bold-faced lie, they support it. No matter how bad they look, they support it. I'm not asking you to make a fool of yourself, no. But if Patah says something stupid in the chat room, I go, man, I'm going to shut your up. Nope. I'm going to wait till I get off the show, and I'm going to call Patah. Patah, you can't do that, bro. We can't do that, bro. That's what we're going to start doing. So when O.J. Simpson kills somebody, we're going to treat it like the Asians. We're going to treat it like the Republicans. Killed what? Now, we might know you wrong, but we'll deal with you. If you don't understand what I'm saying, this is what I want you to do. Go to YouTube and listen to our brother Lewis for our elder. Excuse me, no disrespect. Our elder Louis Farrakhan speak about the Malcolm X situation. Everybody got mad at him. I got mad at him until I got old enough and mature enough to understand. When he talked about when everybody was accusing him of killing Malcolm X. And he said, so what if we did kill him? That was our business. We a nation. And I'm like, see, he admitted killing Malcolm X, that mother. And then now that I'm older and more mature, I realize that ain't none of y'all business who killed Malcolm X. Let us figure it out. And we'll get at him. And that's the way we need to be thinking. Because a lot of people in this world look at us as less than. A lot of people in this world look at us and disregard us. So if you're gonna think of me as less than, and you want to think of me and disregard me, I need to be best friends with #1 Chief Rocker Jersey Brown, or at least best business partners. I need to be best business partner with Rhonda. I need to be best business partners with Patar. Now, when I go home and lay down next to my old lady, I can't stand that damn Patar. But we getting paid together. That damn Rhonda makes me sick. But boy, she got some good stuff in her restaurant. Man, I can't stand Chief Rocker, but his show is on fire. That's the way we need to be thinking. See, because everybody else, no matter what it is, once you show who you are, like us, we hit you with the fist. Once you hit me with the fist and you show and prove that you're worthy of that brotherhood, we need to start linking up. And even when they step out of bounds, if you step out of bounds and the wolves get you, so be it. But if you step out of bounds and then try to come back, you got to pay penance to us. Ice Cube said 30 years ago, us will always always sing the blues because all we care about is hairstyles and tennis shoes. He was right. We got to start focusing on us. And if we don't, as the great ancestor, most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, do for self or pay the consequences. With that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, man. This is the End of the Bench podcast hosted by yours truly, HRap B on Built for This Network and on YouTube. This is Build and Destroy, man, while I'm trying to build up the community and destroy the lies and propaganda around the community. That being said, I want to send a special shout out to, as I stated, Joe Madison, Larry Daniel Favors, Clay Kane, Heather B., the great Karen Hunter, Al Sharpton, Talia Kweli, Nori, Craig Smith, Corey Holcomb, Zoe Williams. If my man, I got my man Doc in the building. You ain't never too late, man. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I want y'all to see that Kings and Queens podcast if y'all can. 3 Queens, 1 King, and 1 King podcast. I need y'all to subscribe to it, man. Because this is what I'm talking about. United, man. United we stand, divided we die. We ain't gonna fall, we gonna die. But other people the people that I'm telling y'all, those are books I read. I want to salute Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Boyce Watkins, Dr. My personal favorite, Dr. Greg Carr. These are people who have dedicated their lives to improving our lives. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and then if you got a little chance, go on over to Spreaker.com, subscribe, tell a friend to tune in. I want to thank y'all again, man. And y'all always, Reggie O'Shea, Combat Jack, salute to ancestor Reggie O'Shea. And as I do, I salute Reggie by saying, dream those dreams and man up and woman up and live those dreams. Because life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in technicolor, surround sound. And I steal this with Craig Smith every week. If I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God. Holla at your boy. 2 fingers, 1 word. It's your man HRap, and I am out.
We are built for this network, for the strong, not the weak.